Hello and welcome to my video. I've got a student who's travelled all the way from America land just to be here with me, but I think maybe she did have other things to do apart from come here. So, hello M. Hello. You can say hello louder if you want.
Hello Stuart.
Hello. Glad you made it.
Thank you, I'm glad I'm here.
So what we're going to do for this class, basically it's similar to all the other classes I did a few years ago before the lockdown. I've done it so many times I've lost track. But here we are, we have a board. It's 80 centimetres by 60, and I'll put the inches on the screen now. And it's my standard size. A lot of people ask me why I use this size, and there is a deep and meaningful reason why, and that is because where I go to get the wood, they have it already cut. That's as deep and meaningful as it gets, and it's just a handy size for what I do. So what I'm going to show M is how to make a landscape out of nothing. So let's just make some shapes, and it's going to be, here's a warning for you, it's going to be like my a lot like my previous landscapes, which is basically hills and clouds with a particular type of wooded patch on the top of a hill, which is unbelievably easy to do. And one thing that is worth knowing is that if you treat your arm the way, you remember the old type of printer with an arm that went back and forth, that constructed the image on your desktop printer. That's basically what my arm is doing. So I move left and right, up and down, and in circles. So, and you can invent a landscape quite easily with this method. So let's just have a hill there with some fields and some grass and all that sort of stuff that comes with it. These are cheap brushes, as usual. Probably about €2 for that, which is a 4 centimetre brush, which, going by my thumb, is just over an inch, about an inch and a quarter. And basically, that's all you need. I will be using other bigger brushes as well, but one for smoothing out the sky and one for larger forms within the landscape. So the colours then, sap green, red ochre, Payne's grey, and that's all you need. So if you're thinking of starting painting and you think, wow, it's going to be expensive, the cost of a tube of paint, it's extortionate, they're so expensive, but you don't use the whole tube in the painting, you use some of it, and what is actually on here wouldn't even, if you scraped it off and put it in a thimble, it wouldn't even give you a proper measurement. It would just be a little bit around the rim, that's all. So it's very, very small. And also, one thing you must do, totally relax. Just push it around, and trust me, it will actually form into something. It's almost impossible not to. And the thing that makes this possible, one of the things that makes this possible, is the fact that I'm using hardly any paint. This looks as though it's covered in paint, but if I do this, nothing is coming off. It won't come off. It'll come off if I throw this at the board, but it won't actually splash off onto the board. So you want it mobile, not drippy. Sometimes, well, it's not strictly true. I have painted pictures in the past which have been totally drippy, and it can actually give you quite an interesting effect. Let's just push that on there. And there you are, you've got water in the grass without too much effort. It's that easy. 4 days? You want to do 4?
Can I speak?
Huh? You can speak, yeah.
Okay, I wasn't going to speak. I was saying, I was sitting here watching this, and you're talking, you're doing your stuff, your spiel. He's done it again. You've half painted it. And you're just talking, and it's already there, happening in front of your eyes. And I'm watching this landscape happen, and I can't do landscapes.
Oh, you will. You will.
I did try a couple from your videos, and they were, you know, mildly successful by my standards.
It's you're probably stuck. I'll start painting again in a minute. You're probably stuck with the mindset that it's difficult. It's a big hurdle to get over, and sometimes it doesn't matter how much I say. You'll get over it. Believe what I say, that it is simple. You will set your own boundaries on that, and for some time they'll be locked. You won't be able to get past it. The only way you can get the only way you can get past it is to literally make a mess, and then see what you can make out of the mess. Once you do that, maybe 2 or 3 times, and a picture starts to emerge, you'll start to believe it. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay. Right, so I'm just demonstrating something to my student. I should have introed that about how you can actually make a painting without really worrying about it too much. So if we just put some shapes on here. So I'm going to use slightly more runny paint now. So if I waggle this at the board, it will fly off. So I won't waggle it. So let's have a nice big dark shape up there. Okay. Now I have no idea what the picture will be like. I'm just going to see what comes out of the mess. Let's have a slightly bigger brush. So, do I want to keep the water through the grass? Nah. Not at the moment, anyway. The other thing to do is, you know, when you're painting, is to use the brush in ways that you wouldn't expect to use it. So you would expect someone to carefully construct a picture. You need to lose all these expectations. What have we got here? We've got something turning up already. So there's a hill. I quite like the hill anyway. And I like this long sweeping shape here. And I think I'll just take that off the edge. So then we've got some land and then a drop and then a flat plane. Okay. Now it may stay like that, it may not. Let's get a bit more oil into this. And perhaps let's add some ultramarine blue, a little bit more Payne's grey. I quite like the idea of something here. I mean, there will be a sky, but it doesn't have to be, you know, I often do this thing where I have 1/3 land, 2/3 sky. The reason I do that is because I actually like painting skies, but I do like painting landscapes too. So let's just see what happens when we do this. So lots of paint on there, slow puts paint down, fast takes paint off. Let's take some paint off there, put a bit on here. Let's put some shapes into it that can't actually be explained until they start to look like something. So what I'm doing now, I've made them, you know, it's obvious I've made a mess, and but what I want to do is turn that mess into something. So let's try putting, this has got a bluish tinge to it. Let's try putting that up here. Right, I like this line, so I work down to it. The reason I work down to it is because I can see what the tip of the brush is doing next to the dark. If I did this, I'd lose the line.
It's like putting eyeliner on after you've done the mascara.
I've never put on eyeliner or mascara. Not yet, anyway. So that's going to stay in. So up here, let's just put in some shapes that are basically not what you would expect clouds to be. So in other words, I'm making the paint do a little bit of work and making the brush work. I mean, all I'm doing, really, I'm just holding the thing, you know? I'm just sort of putting paint on, moving it around. There's no order in the way that I use the brush. It's up, down, sideways, diagonal, whatever you want to do. But what I'm after is to get thin paint spread out across the picture. Now, by doing that, I won't have a mess to actually cut through. That might stay there, it might not, don't know. It may all move down a bit, but at the moment, I sort of quite like that. So. And apart from teaching today, quite a few people on YouTube have asked me to actually do a painting from scratch. I haven't done one from scratch for quite a long time. So here's one for you. Well, you won't get this. My student gets to keep this. So you get to keep this whether you want it or not. You might not want it. I'll try and make it reasonably good. So I'm going to introduce a little bit of royal blue into this. Now, it will look awful at the moment. Everything looks awful. And this is what I call this is the make or break point. This sometimes determines whether the painter or person, who's not quite a painter yet, but dabbling, will actually continue, because this can depress people quite considerably. Because they look at it and they think, what on earth? Looks like something dragged itself on here and expired. Okay, so it looks a mess at the moment, but what I'm going to do is show you how to make it look not a mess. So one of the first things I'm going to do, there's always several first things. There's never one first thing. There's several first things. And why do I say that? Well, the reason I say that is because if I say there are 3 reasons, and I can't think of the third, yeah, or maybe there are 4, but you can't put a number on it because, well, why bother? There's no point. So, yeah, there's lots of first things first. And anything I say second will be something I thought of second. So I'm going to turn that into something that resembles a sky slightly more. I'm not sure what to do with the landscape yet, but we'll come up with something. So if I just do this now, just to do... The reason I make circles is because it tones down any brush strokes. I will tone them down even more in a moment with a big brush. But at the moment, I just want to take the edge off them. Like so. You don't have to go over the whole thing, just sort of do what you think you can. Right, so there we go. There's a bit of sky. I'm probably going to lower the landscape. Don't know yet, but I'll show you what happens with the big brush. To use the big brush, you do not have to be able to do this, okay? But it helps.
Your house painting brush.
Well, it is actually, yeah.
Walls.
It's just a French decorating brush.
Yeah.
Really, I mean.
Yeah, but your action.
Oh, that action. Well, there is, right. What you won't do is you won't see me doing that. Okay, you'll see me doing that.
Yeah.
Very lightly, and I used to describe it as: imagine you're brushing the wings of a butterfly. You do it too hard and no butterfly. Yeah. So you do it really lightly, and you will get marks and lines showing up. That's okay. They're to be expected. And in fact, I quite like them, so I don't worry about it. Now I'm going to increase the sky a little bit more, even though there's some stuff here I quite like. So I'm going to take it down to about here, and there is a very simple way to do that. And that's with this. So what looks like landscape up here will actually become part of the sky. So let's try and get a little bit more drama there. It'll turn into clouds. And let's have a nice pale. In fact, I want to go down further, even further. Right, one thing I have to do is look at the camera. Yep. I've actually got this far in paintings before and noticed the little red light isn't flashing.
Why was that?
Huh? Because I'd forget. Oh yeah, I don't forget so much now. I did. There was a Zoom meeting a few months back when I oh dear, I don't know what it was. What is it? I didn't hit the button on the camera. It was recording on the yeah, it was recording on the cloud, but it was just lots of little pictures with a tiny picture of me painted. Oh. It might have been that painting that's up there. I'm not sure. Anyway, all part of life's rich tapestry. So I've lowered the horizon, so now I'm going to do some strange things down here and see what we get. Oh, I quite like that. In fact, there's already a mountain. If you wanted a mountain, there's a mountain starting to appear there, but I don't know whether I want a mountain. I want that to be cloud. Now, clouds, even though on my palette, I'm not doing the palette for this lesson because I hopefully want to get this video on YouTube later today. I might be able to do it. I'm not sure yet.
I think you will.
It'll be. It takes. I can see a reflection on that. It may take an hour to paint, but it takes 4 hours to edit. Okay, so what have we got? We've got possibly misty mountains, but I don't want misty mountains. What I'm going to do is put some light down here. Well, I might keep the mountains. I don't know. This is going to be quite an abstracty painting.
In Tuscany, you could see about 3 or 4
Layers.
vistas,
Yeah.
layers, each one less visible.
Just add more blue, add more white.
Add more white, yeah, exactly. You can see it fading out. I took some photographs.
So what do we get here? And I'm trying to, do you know, funny thing is, while I'm painting this, I'm trying to figure out where it is on the planet. This could be outer
Salt flats.
yeah, could be outer Mongolia for all I know. But so long as it evokes a mood, I'm more than happy with it. What I don't want is a painting that people will look at and go, meh, which I think is spelled M-E-H, meh. I learned that from my son. So, yeah, I quite like it. It's got a sort of, I don't know, could be in America, couldn't it? Could be in,
Oh, that's what I thought.
yeah, could be in America, I suppose. So maybe
That's
I'll
why I
leave.
said salt flats.
Exactly. Although, wouldn't it be flatter for that? They probably wouldn't have, I don't know, is it completely flat with salt flats, like just
I
flat?
think they're flat.
Yeah, I think they're flat.
They've never been.
I mean, I could flatten it. Don't know whether I want to, though. I actually quite like.
When I water my window boxes, I always go.
There are certain things you have to be robotic. Okay,
That's better.
so what am I going to do? What do I think is going on down here? Now I've still got, you see, if I don't increase the amount of sky, it's still there. If they are mountains, it's still there. Do I want that? Tell you what we'll do, we'll see what it looks like with a little bit of cloud. Where would it poke up? Let's say it's going to poke up here. So if I just put that on there, so that's dirty now. Once it's dirty, get rid of it. Because if it gets grubby, all I'll be doing is spreading the grubbiness, and I don't want that. So that's now on clean paint, so I can now move that up that way. And basically move it away from the land. Doesn't matter what it looks like. All I'm trying to do is get a line between the land and the cloud without a massive build-up of paint. So that's why I'm catching it and pushing it away. This is not fiddly painting. This is actually quite, what's the opposite to fiddly? Clumpy. I'm clumpy painting because I don't really care what it looks like. I just want an effect. Now, if I do that, and then I use this brush again, and I have a quick look to see how much paint is coming off it. Whoops, that's why I wasn't a juggler. So I can move this paint away from the land, like so. And again, I don't care whether I go slightly wobbly over there, it's just an effect at the moment. And absolutely nothing about this picture is even remotely finished. Okay, so there's a bit of brightness next to the mountain.
I'm not sure about that white bit. What's it doing?
That's going to be cloud appearing over the edge of the mountain, so I'll just increase that to make it make sense. A bit worried about the fact that it's so dark. Oh well.
Well, it's a time of day, isn't it?
Well, yes. I mean, when I finished, I could say early evening, the plains.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do, isn't it? Okay, so that's the beginning of this bit of cloud here. So now I'm going to just sort of make that grow a little bit.
That was the pre-cloud.
It was pre-cloud, yeah. Just a message to any YouTube viewers. This isn't. I'm always aware that this style of painting and the things that I do paint don't suit everyone. Some people are actually quite, what's the word? Blunt or rude? Oh yeah, rude, it's that one. It's the rude word. Some people are quite rude about it and they say, oh, they're so depressing. Well, paintings aren't necessarily there to match your sofa. So I'd rather paint a mood that doesn't match your sofa than paint something that does, with all respect.
You don't need an artist to paint the same.
Oh yeah, exactly.
As
yeah. There's a bit of cloud there. Let's turn it into a bit of a feature. Let's just sort of go up there, and I've just spotted that. Now you may not be able to see that. I can see it, and it's a bristle, which we don't want. So here, you see, now I'm not using a brush, obviously. These cloud shapes are all done with a palette knife. So they don't need to be done with a brush at this stage. You could use a brush if you wanted, but you don't have to. And the reason I use a palette knife is because I like it. That's all there is to it. So we've got a bit of light there. Let's just sort of have a bit more over here. Have something over there just blowing around in the sky. Doesn't matter what happens to the paint. See, that's gone all sort of mottled because I've moved this grey stuff. I could actually scrape it off and put it on again and then just push it around again. Doesn't matter. Everything is flexible, and that's why this method of painting is so liberating. One of the reasons, anyway. Oh, and the other thing is, if you're just starting painting, don't necessarily do it with the idea of selling paintings. You may get lucky, and your style may be, how do I put it, extremely advanced. Maybe, you know, you're one of these people that just has it. It does happen. They just have the, well, I hate to use the word knack, but they just know what they're doing. And
Born before, as an artist.
yeah. So yeah, but it's don't start out thinking you're going to sell it. Wonderful if you do, but that's not the point at the moment. The point is learn to paint, learn to find your own style. Although that brings me on to another subject, and that is style. I mean, It's a fact that pretty well every artist alive at some point in their life copied work by another artist, because that's how they learnt. Autodidactic, great word that. Sounds like some kind of dinosaur, doesn't it? I got attacked by an autodidactic this morning. An autodidactic dial. As you can possibly hear, because I won't be able to edit everything out of this video, but when you come here to learn, or if you come here to learn, it is quite a laugh, and that's intentional, because if you are in a jolly frame of mind, you actually learn better, and it gives you access to parts of your brain that you wouldn't normally have access to.
If we still have brains.
Sorry?
If one still has a brain.
If one still has a brain. Edit that out. So, yeah, go mad with the sky. So what I'm doing here when I'm doing this movement here, just taking off some of the white lumps of paint and just sort of pushing it back into the sky a bit. I think there's an insect tempting fate. I'm sure something just flew past me. One thing you will see in here is spider webs.
Sure.
But I call them arachnopark. But you won't see that many flies because I've got the spiders. Yeah.
Ecosystem at its finest.
Okay, so there's the beginning of a sky. I'm still toying with the idea of keeping the landscape. So let's see, what can we do down here now? I'm leaning towards Payne's grey here, and I'm definitely in the mood for drama, as you can see today. One thing I've mentioned before, and you have to bear this in mind, I'm standing over to the left of the painting, so when I think I'm doing a horizontal line, it is always going to go downhill. It always does. So this has got a slope down that way, so I can lift that up just by sort of ignoring my instincts and just sort of pushing it up higher like that. So that now is horizontal. And I don't even know whether I'm going to keep that there. I'm toying with the idea of making these mountains come right the way down here, so that we're looking over down into a valley. That wouldn't be difficult to do. I can do it this way. Who needs a horizon line? Okay, let's go really right over the top. Now this, funnily enough, what's happening now is I'm recalling an image of a place in the Pyrenees. For those of you who don't know where that is, that's the ridge of mountains between France and Spain. Amazing place, very mystical sort of place. And I did take a photo years ago, probably 18, 19 years ago, of a particular view in the Pyrenees. If I can find it, I'll put it on the screen. If not, it won't, but I'm pretty sure I'll find it. And it was a dark hill with a light behind it. And it looked like a scene from a very dramatic film. I can't really say what sort of film, but very dramatic. Like I don't know, Touch of the Heathcliff on the moor. I had that feel about it. Although not the English moors, the French moors. So there we are. Suddenly we've got this big valley now.
I like that because
I prefer that.
equalises the drama.
Yeah, I definitely prefer that. So I think that's what we might do. Let's just get some dark shapes in here. These are all these things. These are what you call them.
Little indentations in the land. Little indentations in the land.
Indentations in the land, yeah. But in the art world, you would call it a device. It's a device to make the viewer do certain things. So what they will all have a certain line. Okay, so they are all going down here somewhere.
Leading
They're leading you that way. And then when I get you here, I want to lead you that way. I don't want you going and sailing out. I want you to go back into the picture. So I will put something over here that'll actually take you back. But at the moment, let's just sort of put in what could be outcrops of rock for the moment. Let's just have another one there, I think. Don't know why. When I do things like that, you see, I say, I think maybe one there, one here. I don't know what it is. I think it's, by now, I think it's probably instinct. Don't ever look at the picture in as separate components. Look at everything at the same time. You have to do that. So if I do something here, quite often I might be painting there, but I'm looking elsewhere in the picture because I need to figure out what I can do to counteract it. So if I just leave a dark shape there, okay, that's good. So that's going to be an edge of a cliff. There's going to be a drop there. This is going to be the edge near to us. There's a drop in the land. It's a little bit isolated, so I think I'm just going to darken along here a bit more paint. So let's just pull that across there. Okay, so that's like a break.
That needs you. Yeah, it needs you.
You like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're going to get this, so you've got to like it. So I'll listen to you. So this is like a crevasse, I suppose. Now, I often don't like things going out of the picture on a slope.
Put a craggy tree.
I'm going to put a craggy bush, otherwise known as the greater variegated leaf craggy spotted bush. Or, I don't know, I might do that. I'm sort of running it through my mind. But funnily enough, I don't think I will. I'm going to assume bushes are too far away there. So, yes, I think I'll darken that considerably in there and then just lift it up a bit, just here. So there's a I don't know, crevasse or whatever you want to call it, there. And then it peters away here. A little bit of a lump. What you have to do, you see, is keep your eye on what's happening in the land. Anything that's happening here, you see, has to relate to what's happening there. They can't be completely separate. There has to be a theme that runs through. And I think over there we might actually just put a bit of dark just here. And I always say this: there will be a part 2 to this, because I can't get everything done in one sitting on this sort of painting. Not sure about that yet. I'm sort of just toying with the idea. So that the close edge of this crevasse needs to be sparked up a bit. In other words, I want a little bit of a clean edge in certain places. If I did the same pressure all the way along there, it would be as boring as heck. So you don't do that. You do bits of it. So I'm going to have some light catching here, just enough to tell you that there's some light catching there. A little bit just before it disappears down here. And at the moment, see, it's just a blob. Doesn't matter what shape it is. It's just after getting a bit of light in there. That's all. And then using the paper again, just be creative about how you shape your bits of paper. Let's have something there. Sometimes there's no real reason.
Danger there.
Say again?
A lot of danger.
It's got to look dangerous, absolutely. So I've got my little light spots. Now what I want to do is just sort of make them look as though they're part of the landscape rather than painted on it. So just pull them across like so. And I could, when this is dry, add some light colour just along that edge. Doing what I'm doing now with the paper is sort of preparing the position for the lighter colours to go. So they will sit on these very light bits. And let's have a... Okay, when I half shut my eyes and look at this, I see a couple of light channels, a dark area, a light bit, dark bit, another light bit. Okay, so that's the way cliffs and stuff, to be technical, cliffs and stuff, actually catch the light. So we could enhance that a bit more. We could say, okay, we're going to have a little bit more, just catching a bit of land there, a little bit more light just here. Definitely a bit over there, and a bit coming down from it. You see how that works? It's just, you know, you're describing form. It's this is not necessarily the most colourful painting you'll come across, but it's definitely going to be dramatic. Okay.
It does look like Spain.
It does look like
It has a feeling of Spain.
Spain. Could be.
'Cause
I've only ever been to Mallorca. I've sat in the jungles of Costa Rica,
yeah,
being eaten alive, but I've never been to Spain. Oh well.
my daughter-in-law comes from Costa Rica,
Oh really?
and should we need a place to go and live in
Yeah.
on that side of the world, we may build in Costa Rica
Where is
to escape this.
is it San Jose or is it out in the sticks a bit?
San Jose is the capital, but we wouldn't go there. We would go higher up.
I went to San Jose because I had to land. They had to land the plane to let me off. But then it was a bus ride. Oh my goodness, it went on forever.
Well, they've done all the roads since then.
It was but still
They've
top
done them for
top
roads.
left-hand corner,
Yeah,
Guanacaste National Park.
that's where we're going to.
Oh, you're going to go there? Ah, amazing place.
Yeah.
Watch out for the scorpions, but they're not deadly. The scorpions aren't deadly. In Africa, they're deadly.
They are.
In Costa Rica, they just make your tongue
Australia.
go funny. Yeah,
Do it?
yeah. I mean, and the antidote. I'll tell you the story after I'll keep this on the video, but I'll tell you the story after I finish the painting. And unless, of course, you on YouTube want to hear the story, it's quite funny. But I'll put that on another video if you do. Let me know. But I was in Costa Rica in the jungle, researching bugs and their poop.
Sloths.
Exciting. And but anyway, I got stung by a scorpion, and it does hurt, but it's not fatal. Particularly, I was particularly healthy at the time, so it helped. Okay, so that could be for another video, I think. Okay, so I'm sort of quite liking this effect here. Okay, now the foreground, the absolute foreground, well, it's one of these pictures that actually looks like it could be okay with not much doing to it. If I just put some of those across there, let's say this bit of land here has a bit of light. It definitely needs some light to bring it forward. There, I think that works.
We're standing away from it in the safe green bit.
Yeah. I think this is obviously like a
Fault.
a fault but no fault of its own. But and then we are on this bit of land here, and what happens between here and there? Now that looks to me as though it goes down the hill, so let's just put some light bits in front of the dark to reinforce that feeling. So I want it to look as though we go down and over there, and then maybe I'll put that could be a trail. Right, I don't like that anymore. It's just not right. But there could be, what could there be? Right, there could be a hint of a trail going across there, which of course gets you nowhere because you fall down the hole. So then it wiggles off up that way. Don't have to do the whole path, you see. Just put a suggestion in, and that goes off over there, and then maybe it goes up the hill. It's just sort of, you see, you can put things in like that and then take them out just as easy as I put them in case you don't like them. What I might do is just make them slightly more vague. So let's just take that and mush it up a bit there. Right, so that, yeah, that I don't like. So what I'm going to do is just sort of push it around until it looks okay. Just be creative with your pushing. And don't be in a hurry to undo something. So I'm picking up some sky now. This is one of my favourite bits of a painting. Because that paint is there, I can pull that down into the sky and I can make an extra colour. Let me just make sure that you're actually seeing, I think you're seeing it. So if I now use the mixture of the colours, bring that down into the land and then push it around a bit. This is why you don't need to see the palette all the time. So I'm picking up some of this dark colour here, putting it into the sky there, pushing it up as far as I think I can get away with it. Let's take it up to there and then solidify it by applying a bit of pressure and then coming down again that way, and that gives us a bit more distance and something happening over there. Don't know what it is yet, but you don't want to go there unless you're carrying a gold ring. It's got a sort of, what's the place called? Middle Earth. Right, so there's a hardish line next to the light sky, that's fine. On this side, I think I'm going to increase this mountain. Pick up some of that white paint and smudge that side of the mountain a bit. So maybe... Okay, so yeah, bit of mystery. So I've got some white on the brush, but on this corner up here, I don't have any white. So I'm going to put a little bit of darkness back on the side of the hill, just in a few places, because I think it will reinforce the shape. It's all very well to have a flat hill, you know, a flat mountain sitting over there, but it's better if you can add a hint of form to it. So let's put a little bit of dark just there. Always, you know, this was drummed into me at college. Whatever you draw, it must have form. And they were right.
When I used to teach Greek.
Right, so it's looking reasonably dramatic, which is what I always look for in a painting. I want things to be moody, and they seem to be going that way. Now, when you have a build-up of paint like this, there's obviously, well, you can't see it, I can see it, but maybe it doesn't matter, but there's a build-up of paint just there right on the edge. You can, you know, go over it when it's all basically touch dry with a palette knife and just sort of press the bumps out. But
you wouldn't use your brush?
Well, I could. Don't know whether I can be bothered though. It's safer when you don't. Well, not that I'm worried about it. It's just it gives me something. It gives me something to do in the next video. I always try to get 2 videos out of a painting if I can. Okay, so over here we got this nice dark, shadowy bit. Do I like what's going on here? Before I move to that, the top of this hill, which could be a mini volcano, which of course would be very trendy at the moment, it's got a bit of a dip on the top. I'm not sure I like that. Okay, so, right, I need to finalise this now. Quick look in there. What was I going to do? Foreground. Now, however, because this is dark, I'm tempted to add a bit of light sky just there, just to bring out that ridge. There's two ways of doing it. One is to do that, and the other one is far more complex, and that is to not do that. And I'm really pleased that I can tell by the comments that I get that quite a few of you are starting to appreciate my, I don't know whether it's an English sense of humour or whether I'm just sarcastic, but I'm glad you're paying attention. Right, so right here, so if I just add a little bit of white there, it doesn't have to go all the way across because there's this thing called undrawn detail. But if I just put that there and then just sort of push it around a bit, that might be interesting. Yeah, I think it is. I'm interested in that. Now, I'm going to use another smoothing brush, but a small one, because I've only got a small area to work on there. It's just... So down here, what am I going to do? Do I like it like that? In the camera, you see, I'm seeing it from a distance. When I look at that, it's a picture that's 30 feet away. And that does actually work. So what do I need to do to it to convince me to stop fiddling? Let's try putting just for the heck of it, one of those. Let's add a bit more texture here. Does it need texture? You see, because it looks like the sort of land where the grass only grows to about that long. So maybe I don't need to do much. I'll just keep it flat with a few grassy hints. Never paint actual grass. No. Not in this style. I used to. Yeah, no. Make the brush make marks that could be grass. Yeah. But it's like, if we stand here and look out the window and the grass is only, 12 feet away, you still can't see every individual blade. Then, but people spend a big part of their life painting them.
I didn't always do that, though, I have to say.
Yeah. Never do it. Yeah. Never do it. It's not almost. This effect here, I'm going to be finishing in a minute, so you can come and look at it close up. This effect here, you see, if you want an impression of grass, the emphasis is on the impression. Each blade of grass is not of much interest along here. However, the feeling that there is tons of grass without even barely painting them, to me, is far more interesting.
This is.
Now, I've just spotted something that I'm not... I generally like it, but there's a lost connection between this and this.
Which is in front and which is behind.
Exactly. This is in front, so this is going to have a little bit of
a line behind it, right?
Something. Doesn't even have to mean anything, just that will do. And then I think over here, there could be a few things like that, because why the heck not, eh? It's up to the viewer to decide what they are. And of course the brain will normally say, oh, it's a tree, but who knows? Right, so what do I need to do here? I need to just do a little bit of scumbling, just for the heck of it. So anyway, I think that's pretty well it for this today. So if you've enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up button. Please subscribe. It's free if you want to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Make comments. The algorithm likes people to make comments. It doesn't really even matter if they're rude comments. In fact, I did hear somewhere that even if you put a rude comment on, you're actually helping me because it shows that people are aware. But of course I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to come here for lessons, you better be quick because I will be winding down doing that. a little bit, but I do Zoom classes, 2 a month if you become a patron, and you pay the equivalent of €30 a month. You get 2 lessons free. I beg your pardon, you get 1 lesson free because it's €30 per lesson. So yeah, anyway, as I said, I hope you learnt something. I hope you've enjoyed it. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.